The galaxy was silent, but it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence after war, when smoke still rose from broken ships and the stars carried the memory of screams. Among the ruins of that endless conflict sat Queen Seraphina, ruler of the alien empire. Her throne was made of black crystal, sharp and cold, but the queen herself was colder still. Once, she was called the Mother of Stars. Her people believed she was untouchable, a leader of great strength and wisdom. But tonight, the throne room was empty except for her, and her heart was heavier than any crown. She had lost the one thing that gave her life meaning, her daughter, Princess Alara. The war had taken Alara away. In the chaos of battle, the child had been lost, swallowed by the fire and blood of conflict. The queen's soldiers said the girl was dead, but Seraphina refused to believe it. A mother always knows, and in the deepest part of her heart she felt a strange truth. Her daughter was out there somewhere waiting, but hope can be more painful than death. Every night Seraphina dreamed of her child's voice calling her name, only to wake up in silence. She had power over fleets of starships, over planets and armies, but she was powerless against her own grief. Her enemies called her cruel. They said she was a heartless queen, but they did not see the truth. Cruelty was not her choice. It was her shield. Each time she ordered her soldiers into battle, each time she unleashed fire upon her enemies, she was trying to fill the emptiness inside her. But nothing worked. The throne room grew darker, her heart colder and her hope weaker, and yet not gone. One night, as she sat alone, the great doors of her throne room opened with a hiss. A soldier entered, his face pale, his eyes wide with fear. He carried a small device in his hand, glowing faintly blue. He knelt before the queen and held it out. "My queen," he whispered, "this message, it is for you. But it came from outside our empire, from someone unknown." The queen's eyes narrowed. No one dared send her secret messages. She rose from her throne, her black cloak sweeping the ground, and took the device. With a touch, the message opened. It was only a few words, simple and sharp, but they cut through her heart like a blade. "Your daughter lives." Her hands trembled. For the first time in years, Seraphina's cold mask cracked. She stared at the words, reading them again and again as if her eyes might be tricking her. Alive? Could it be true? The message carried no name, no voice, no proof. Just those 3 words. It could be a trap, a cruel game from her enemies. But what if it wasn't? What if Alara truly lived, somewhere in the vast darkness of space, waiting to be found? The queen clenched her fists, her mind filled with questions. Who sent this? Where was her daughter? And if she was alive, why had no one brought her back? She rose to her full height, her voice echoing through the empty chamber. "Find the source of this message," she commanded. "Search every system. Search every shadow. I do not care how many ships you burn, how many enemies you kill. Bring me the truth." Her soldiers bowed low, afraid of the fire in her eyes. For years they had seen their queen broken, drowning in grief. But now, something had awakened. Something dangerous. As the throne room doors closed again, the queen stood in the silence, clutching the message device in her hand. For the first time since the war, she felt something stronger than sorrow. She felt a spark of hope. But hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a mother to madness. Hope can start a fire that burns across galaxies. And deep in the shadows of space, unseen by the queen, another figure watched. A figure cloaked in black, with eyes like burning coals. The message was not an accident. It was the first move in a game far greater than Seraphina could imagine. The queen believed she was searching for her daughter, but the truth was darker. The galaxy was preparing for a storm. Far from the queen's dark palace, another story was unfolding. On the blue planet Earth, the war had left scars of its own. Cities were broken, soldiers buried, and families torn apart. Among the survivors stood one man who carried the weight of too many battles. Captain Marcus Hale. Marcus was a human warrior, but not like the others. He was not driven by greed or the thrill of bloodshed. He fought because he had to, not because he wanted to. His eyes told the truth. They were the eyes of someone who had seen too much death, too much fire. His name was known across the battlefield. Some called him a hero. Others called him cursed. He led his men with courage, always standing at the front, always protecting those who followed him. But when the battles ended, Marcus did not celebrate. He sat alone, haunted by the faces of the fallen human and alien alike. One cold night after a mission, Marcus returned to the base hidden in the ruins of an old city. The rain fell hard, washing the dust of war from his armor. He removed his helmet and sat by himself, staring at the distant lights of the alien skyships. He knew the war was not over. He knew peace was a dream no one could touch. But then something strange happened. As Marcus prepared to rest, a young technician from the intelligence unit approached him, nervously holding a sealed case. "Captain," the boy said, his voice low, "this was found in the wreckage of an alien transport. The higher-ups, they don't want you to see it. But I thought you should." Marcus frowned. He had no patience for secrets. He took the case, dismissed the boy, and opened it in silence. Inside, he found a small crystal drive glowing faintly. He placed it in the reader on his desk, and a series of hidden files appeared. At first, they looked like prisoner records. Numbers, codes, names. Most were meaningless, but then Marcus froze. One file was different. It had a name written not in human language, but in the alien script he had seen before. Slowly, carefully, Marcus read the translation. His heart skipped. A beat, Ilara, royal lineage, classified, a child, a princess. A secret prisoner taken during the war. Marcus leaned back in his chair, staring at the screen. Could this be true? Could the alien's lost princess really be alive, hidden away? And why were humans keeping this secret? The file was incomplete, corrupted, but it held enough to spark something inside him. Not just curiosity, but anger. He remembered the destruction, the lies told by generals, the endless blood spilled in the name of victory. Was this war built on more lies? That night, Marcus could not sleep. He walked through the ruined streets, his thoughts racing. If the alien queen's daughter lived, then the war was not what it seemed. Perhaps it was never about humans versus aliens. Perhaps there were deeper hands pulling the strings. He thought of the queen, a powerful ruler, cruel yet broken, fighting for something more than conquest. If her daughter truly lived, she would never stop searching. Marcus understood that feeling. He too had lost family to the war, people he could never bring back. Maybe that was why this secret struck him so deeply. The rain poured harder, lightning cracking the sky. Marcus stopped in the middle of the street, his jaw tight. He made his decision. If the generals wanted to bury the truth, let them. If the warlords on both sides wanted blood, let them fight. But Marcus would not stand by. He would find the child. He would uncover the truth, but he could not do it alone. The next day, Marcus quietly began assembling a team, not soldiers who followed orders blindly, but men and women he trusted with his life. A medic who once saved him on the battlefield. A pilot who could fly through asteroid storms with her eyes closed. A sharpshooter who had no loyalty to anyone but his own sense of justice. He told them nothing at first, only that the mission would be dangerous and that if they were caught, no one would save them. They all agreed. They had seen too much to keep fighting a meaningless war. Together, they would step into the shadows, beyond the orders of their commanders, beyond the lies of their leaders. Marcus returned to the file one last time. The corrupted screen flickered, and he leaned close, reading the final broken line. Ilara. Location unknown. Deep sector. Classified. It was not enough, but it was a beginning. Marcus closed his eyes, whispering to himself, "If she's alive, then everything changes." In the silence of the ruined city, lightning lit the sky again. A storm was coming, not of rain, but of war, truth, and fire. And Captain Marcus Hale had just taken the first step into a mission that would shake the galaxy, a mission that would soon bring him face to face with the Queen herself. The night was dark above Earth's ruins, but inside a hidden bunker, Captain Marcus Hale prepared for something far darker, a mission against both his enemies and his own people. The corrupted file still echoed in his mind. Ilara, royal lineage. Prisoner, the lost daughter of the alien queen. If she truly lived, then everything the humans had fought for was built on lies. Marcus knew the truth could end the war, or burn the galaxy to ashes, but the mission ahead was no simple rescue. It was treason. If his commanders discovered what he planned, he would be executed without trial. Still, Marcus had made his choice. He had lived too long in the shadows of lies. Now he would risk everything for the truth. Gathering the team one by one, Marcus brought his chosen warriors into the circle of trust. There was Ilara Voss, a pilot with steel nerves, who once flew through a collapsing wormhole and returned alive when no one else could. She leaned against the wall, arms crossed, her smirk hiding the fear she never admitted. There was Dr. Ryan Cole, a medic with shaky hands but a brilliant mind. He saved countless lives in the field, though he still carried guilt for every life he could not. And then there was Silas Kane, the sharpshooter, a quiet man, his eyes colder than space itself. He owed loyalty to no flag, only to Marcus, the one man who had ever spared his life. Marcus stood before them, his voice steady but heavy with the weight of what he was about to say. This mission is off the record. No orders, no backup, no rescue if we fail. What I found changes everything. The alien queen's daughter is alive. She's being kept as a prisoner. If we find her, we may find the truth that ends this war. For a long moment, silence filled the bunker. The only sound was the distant hum of machines. Finally, Ilara Voss raised an eyebrow. A missing alien princess? That's what we're risking our necks for? Sounds like a fairy tale, Captain. Marcus's stare did not break. Maybe. Or maybe it's the only way to stop fighting a war built on lies. I won't force you to. Follow me. But I'm going. With or without you. Slowly, one by one, they agreed. Not because they believed in the mission, but because they believed in Marcus. Into the shadows, their first step was to leave Earth unnoticed. The generals had eyes everywhere, and Marcus's name was too well known. They could not board a warship, too obvious. Instead, they stole into the night on a small, unmarked freighter once used for smuggling. The ship groaned as it lifted off, rising through thick clouds into the endless night of space. For Marcus, there was no turning back now. Every star outside, the window felt like an eye watching him, every shadow a reminder of the risk. The corrupted file gave them only a fragment, the words, "Deep Sector." It was vague, dangerous. The deep sector was not just one place. It was a stretch of dark space filled with broken satellites, abandoned ships, and pirate strongholds. Few who traveled there returned, but Marcus had no choice. Somewhere in that darkness, the Queen's daughter was waiting. Whispers of betrayal days passed as they traveled deeper into uncharted space. The crew spoke little, tension filling every corner of the ship. Trust was fragile and suspicion grew like a shadow. Silas Kane kept sharpening his rifle, his cold eyes watching everyone too closely. The pilot, Voss, questioned Marcus's every decision, testing his resolve. And Dr. Cole's hands trembled more with each passing day, as if he carried secrets he dared not share. Marcus felt it too, the weight of hidden doubts. Was the file real? Or had someone planted it, luring him into a trap? And if Ilara lived, why had no one rescued her before? Late one night, Marcus overheard whispers in the dark corner of the ship. Two voices. One of them was Silas, the other, distorted. A transmission. Someone was sending secret signals. Marcus froze, heart pounding. Someone in his crew was not loyal. Someone was leading them into danger. But before he could act, alarms blared through the ship. The prison ship Voss shouted from the cockpit, her hands flying across the controls. "Captain, we've picked up something in a ship. No transponder, no ID, drifting dead in the deep sector." Marcus hurried to the viewport. Through the glass, the stars shifted, and there it was, a massive prison transport, scarred and broken, floating silently in space. Its hull carried the marks of both alien and human weapons, as if it had survived countless battles. Dr. Cole whispered, fear in his voice. "If she's alive, she could be in there." Marcus's chest tightened. This was it, the first real lead, but the prison ship looked like a tomb. No lights, no movement, no sign of life. It could be a trap. It could be empty, or it could be holding the very truth they sought. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Marcus gripped his rifle and spoke with the steady calm of a man who had already chosen his path. "Suit up. We're going inside." The airlock hissed open, and they stepped into the dark corridors of the drifting prison. The silence was heavy, broken only by the echo of their boots, and in the darkness, something moved. The prison ship was a graveyard. Its corridors stretched like hollow veins, walls scorched by fire, doors sealed with rust, and the air heavy with the scent of old death. Captain Marcus Hale led the way, his weapon raised, his team following, close behind. Every step echoed like a warning. The voice still haunted his ears. "Help me." It was faint, fragile, but it had carried something stronger than fear. Hope. They reached the cell block, rows of doors standing silent. Most were broken open, empty. But one door remained sealed, its metal scratched with strange alien symbols, desperate marks etched by someone who had counted the days, the hours, the years. Marcus placed his hand against the cold surface. From inside came a sound, breathing. Weak but alive. "Stand back," he ordered. With a burst from his rifle, sparks flew and the lock shattered. The heavy door groaned open. Inside, curled against the wall, was a figure. She was not a child, as the file had described, but no longer a child at all. She had grown in the shadows of this cage. Her skin carried the pale glow of her alien bloodline, her eyes sharp like silver blades. Chains hung from her wrists, but her spirit had not been broken. This was Princess Ilara. First encounter, the light from Marcus's helmet fell across her face, and for a moment, she flinched like a wounded animal. Then her gaze locked on his. Strong. Defiant. "Who are you?" Her voice cracked from years of silence but carried the pride of her royal blood. Marcus lowered his weapon slightly. "We're here to get you out." Her lips curled into something between a laugh and a snarl. "Humans? My captors send more humans to mock me?" "No," Marcus said firmly. "Not your captors. Your rescuers. We found records. Your name. We know who you are." Her silver eyes narrowed. "If you know who I am, then you know what danger you bring. Leave me, and perhaps you will live." But Marcus did not move. He had seen warriors, leaders, even killers, but never eyes like hers. They carried both rage and sorrow, both fire and chains. "You've been left here to die," Marcus said. "But you're not going to die in this tomb, not while I still breathe." For a long moment, silence hung between them. Then slowly she extended her chained hands. A fragile alliance. Silas Kane cut the chains with his blade, but the sharp-eyed sharpshooter whispered under his breath, "She could be dangerous. We don't even know if she's telling the truth." Ilara's head turned, her voice calm but cold. "I don't need your trust, human. I only need my freedom." Dr. Cole stepped forward, scanning her injuries. "She's malnourished, beaten, but alive. It's a miracle she survived this long." The princess straightened, her chains falling to the ground. Even weak, she carried herself like royalty, her presence filling the dark cell. "I survived," she said, "because I had to, because I must tell the truth. This war you fight, and it is not what you think it is." Marcus frowned. "What truth?" Her eyes hardened. "The war between humans and my people. It was never ours to begin with. We are pawns in a greater game. Another empire hides in the shadows, feeding this war, ensuring neither side ever finds peace. The team exchanged uneasy glances. Marcus felt the weight of her words pressing down like gravity. Could it be true? Was the endless bloodshed nothing but a trick of unseen hands? The attack before Marcus could press for answers. Alarms blared through the prison ship. Red lights flashed, engines roared to life, and the entire vessel shook. Voss cursed from the corridor. "We're not alone, someone's boarding." Ilara's silver eyes widened. "They've come for me, the ones who locked me here. They will not let me leave alive." Marcus raised his weapon. "Then we fight." The first blast tore through. The hallway and armored soldiers poured in, not human, not from Ilara's people, but something else entirely. Their armor was jagged, their movements mechanical, their voices a chorus of static. The hidden enemy. The ones Ilara had warned about. The battle exploded in the narrow corridors. Silas's rifle thundered, Voss fired through the smoke, and Cole dragged the princess to cover. Marcus fought like a man possessed, cutting through the invaders with relentless fire, but more kept coming. Endless waves of faceless soldiers. Ilara clutched Marcus's arm, her voice fierce despite her weakness. "We must leave now. If they take me again, you will never see the truth." Marcus looked at her, then at his crew. His chest burned with the weight of choice. The escape, Voss. "Get the ship ready," he shouted. The team fought their way back, through the collapsing corridors, blaster fire raining down like firestorms. Marcus carried Ilara when her strength failed, her head resting against his chest, but her eyes never closed. Even in weakness, she was unbroken. At last, they reached the freighter. Engines roared to life, and as the airlock sealed, the prison ship exploded behind them in a storm of fire. Marcus collapsed into the pilot's seat, Ilara beside him. She was breathing hard, but her gaze burned with the weight of secrets yet untold. "You saved me," she whispered, her voice softer now, softer. "But saving me will not save you. The truth I carry will put a target on all your backs." Marcus met her eyes. "Then we'll carry it together." Ilara looked away, her jaw tight. She had been a prisoner for years, but freedom carried its own chains. Outside the window, the stars stretched endless, cold and bright, and somewhere in that vast darkness, the hidden empire was already hunting them. The freighter drifted through silent space, its engines humming low as the crew caught their breath. The prison ship was gone, destroyed in fire, but the danger had not vanished. If anything, it had grown. In the dim glow of the cabin, Princess Ilara sat apart from the others. Her chains were gone, yet she carried the weight of invisible ones, the burden of secrets no one else knew. Marcus Hale watched her quietly, his hands clenched around the controls, his mind filled with questions. "The crew whispered among themselves. Silas Kane cleaned his rifle, his cold eyes never leaving Ilara. Pilot Voss paced back and forth, muttering curses about how far they were from safe space, and Dr. Cole, always nervous, checked Ilara's vitals with trembling hands, as if she might vanish at any moment. Finally, Marcus broke the silence. "You said the war was not what it seems. You said there's another force behind it. Now you're going to tell us everything." Ilara lifted her head. Her silver eyes gleamed. In the faint light, eyes that carried both sorrow and fire. She leaned forward, her voice low but sharp, every word cutting like a blade. "The revelation. This war between humans and my people," Ilara began, "was never ours to fight. It was born in lies. For centuries we believed humans struck first, burning our colonies. You believed we attacked your fleets without reason, but both were false. The true enemy is an empire older than either of us, the Dominion." The name echoed in the silence. "They are masters of shadows," she continued. "A race that hides in the dark between stars. They ignite wars between others, weaken them, and then harvest the ruins. It was the Dominion who took me, who locked me away. My disappearance was their weapon. They fed lies to both sides, fueling hate until the galaxy drowned in blood. The crew sat frozen. Even Silas lowered his weapon for a moment, his cold mask cracking. Marcus's jaw tightened. If that's true, then every battle we fought, every soldier who died, it was all for nothing. Ilara's voice softened. Not nothing. For the Dominion, it was everything. They feed on war. They thrive on it. And now, they will come for both of us. Unless we stand together. The crew's doubt. The words hung heavy in the cabin. Voss shook her head, laughing bitterly. You expect us to believe that? Some ghost empire hiding in the shadows? That sounds like a bedtime story for children. Ilara's gaze pierced her. And yet you saw them. The soldiers who boarded the prison ship, and were they human? Were they mine? No, they were Dominion. Voss fell silent, her doubt cracking. Silas leaned forward, his voice calm but sharp. Even if what you say is true, why should we care? Humans and your people have killed each other for years. Why risk our lives to save you, or your mother? Ilara's eyes flashed. Because if the Dominion wins, there will be no humans. No aliens, no kingdoms, no freedom, only ashes. The cabin fell into silence again. The truth was too large to deny, too dangerous to accept. Marcus's choice. Marcus rose from his seat, his voice steady, his decision made. Whether we believe her or not doesn't matter. What matters is proof. If the Dominion exists, we find evidence. If Ilara is right, then we take that truth to the galaxy, to her mother, to our leaders. If she's lying. He glanced at her, his eyes hard. Then we'll know soon enough. Ilara met his gaze, unflinching. I will take you to where the Dominion hides. Their strongholds are buried in the deep sector, invisible to most, but I've seen them. I know their secrets. If you want proof, you will have it. For the first time, Marcus saw something in her eyes that was not rage, not sorrow, but fire. A warrior's fire, born in chains, ready to burn. The hidden signal is, Marcus spoke. The ship's console beeped sharply. A signal, a faint transmission, hidden in static. Voss rushed to the controls, her hands flying. It's encrypted, not ours. Wait, it's coming from inside the ship. Everyone froze. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Inside? From who? The transmission cracked, voices breaking through. Target located. Princess alive. Proceed to intercept. Marcus spun, his weapon raised. His gaze swept the cabin, his crew, his friends. Someone had betrayed them. Silas's hand drifted toward his rifle. Dr. Cole's face went pale, sweat dripping down his brow. Voss cursed under her breath, slamming the console shut. Ilara's voice broke the tension, sharp and steady. You are hunted because of me. The Dominion knows I escaped. They will not stop. If you stay with me, you will die. Marcus's voice was cold as steel. Then let them come. They'll have to kill me first. The shadow on the horizon through the viewport, the stars, shifted. At first, they looked like nothing more than distant lights. But then the lights grew larger. Dark shapes emerged from the void, ships unlike any human or alien design. Jagged, silent, predatory, the Dominion had found them. Ilara stood slowly, her strength returning as if fueled by the sight of her enemy. Her silver eyes glowed faintly, her voice steady. This is the beginning. The war you thought you knew is over. The true war has just begun. Marcus tightened his grip on his rifle. His crew braced for impact, and in the silent vastness of space, the first Dominion ship opened its weapons. The freighter tore through the void, chased by shadows. Behind them, Dominion ships hunted like wolves, silent and relentless. But ahead, a brighter light glowed. The homeworld of Ilara's people, the jewel of the alien empire. Its silver towers rose into the sky, its atmosphere shimmering like liquid crystal. For Princess Ilara, the sight was almost unbearable. She had dreamed of home every night in her prison, dreamed of walking its gardens, hearing her mother's voice again, and now, as the planet filled the viewport, her heart thundered. She was returning at last. But the weight of years in chains pressed against her chest. She was not the same child who had been taken. She was no longer innocent. She was a weapon forged in darkness, and she knew her return would not bring only joy. The Queen's shock, the freighter descended under heavy escort. Alien warships surrounded them, their weapons locked, their pilots suspicious. But when the Queen herself heard the message, "We have the Princess," everything changed. The palace gates opened and the alien Queen Seraphina stood waiting. Her black crystal crown shimmered beneath the twin suns, her cloak sweeping the floor. She was colder than steel, sharper than a blade. Yet when her daughter stepped from the freighter, her mask cracked. Ilara. For the first time in years, her voice broke. The soldiers around her gasped as the Queen, their unshakable ruler, fell to her knees and embraced her daughter. Ilara froze for a heartbeat, then slowly wrapped her arms around her mother. It was a reunion written in fire and sorrow, and, for a moment, nothing else existed, but not everyone welcomed her. The generals doubt inside the throne chamber, the alien generals gathered, tall, armored, their eyes gleaming with suspicion. They whispered among themselves as the princess stood before them. She has been gone too long. She could be a spy. She could bring ruin upon us all. One general, Lord Kale, stepped forward. His voice was thunder. "With respect, my queen, how do we know this is truly your daughter? For all we know, the humans returned her as a weapon. Her loyalty may not be ours." The queen's eyes blazed. "Silence. She is my blood, my heir. I need no proof." But Ilara's voice cut through the hall, steady and strong. "No, mother. He is right to doubt, because I do not return to you as the child you lost. I return with knowledge you fear." The generals stirred. Ilara's silver gaze swept the room. "The Dominion still lives. They control this war. They pit us against the humans for their gain. I was their prisoner. I saw their shadows. And now they hunt me still." Gasps filled the hall. Some generals shouted, denying her words. Others whispered fearfully. The Queen herself stood frozen, torn between grief and disbelief. Marcus's trial amid the chaos, Captain Marcus and his crew stood silent, surrounded by guards. To the aliens, they were intruders, enemies who should have been executed the moment they landed. Lord Kale sneered at Marcus. "This human brings you lies. He has poisoned your daughter's mind. Let me end him here." The guards raised their weapons. Marcus stared straight ahead, calm, unflinching. But before the Queen could speak, Ilara stepped in front of him. "No. He saved me when no one else would. Without him, I would still rot in a Dominion cage. If you kill him, you kill the truth with him." The hall fell into uneasy silence. The Queen's eyes flickered between her daughter and the human warrior. Finally, she raised her hand. "Stand down. No harm will come to him." The generals bristled with anger, but they obeyed. A mother's fear. That night, in the quiet of her private chamber, Seraphina faced her daughter alone. "I dreamed of this moment every day," the Queen whispered. "I dreamed of holding you again, of hearing your voice. But now you speak of things that cannot be true. The Dominion, we destroyed them long ago." Ilara's silver eyes glowed in the candlelight. "No, mother. That is what they wanted you to believe. They hide in the shadows, feeding this war. They took me because they feared I would reveal the truth, and now they will come for you." Seraphina turned away, her cloak trembling. She was a queen, feared across the galaxy, but at that moment she was only a mother, terrified. "If what you say is true," she murmured, "then our empire stands on the edge of ruin." The shadow within, but even as mother and daughter spoke, betrayal festered in the palace. Lord Kale met secretly with cloaked figures, Dominion spies already deep within the court. "The Queen grows weak," Kale hissed. "Her daughter fills her head with poison. If we do not act, she will unite with the humans against us. That cannot be allowed." The spy's voice was like static. "Then ensure she never has the chance." Kale's eyes glimmered with ambition. The Queen's love for her daughter was a weapon he could use against her. The gathering storm at dawn, Alara stood on the balcony of the palace, looking out over her people. For the first time in years, she felt the warmth of her home, the pulse of her world. But her heart was heavy. She knew that within these walls, not all welcomed her return. Marcus joined her, his face hard. They don't trust you, and they don't trust me. You've brought the truth home, but truth can be more dangerous than lies. Alara nodded. The Dominion is already here. I can feel it. If my mother does not believe me soon, it will be too late. The suns rose higher, casting long shadows across the palace. And in those shadows, the Dominion moved closer. The palace was silent, the air heavy with tension. Queen Seraphina stood before her throne, her hand raised, her generals watching with narrowed eyes. At her side stood Alara, alive after years in chains, her silver eyes burning with truth. And, behind them, Captain Marcus Hale and his crew waited, weapons ready, knowing this decision would decide the galaxy's fate. Would the Queen choose war against the humans, or listen to her daughter's warning about the Dominion? The silence broke, with thunder. The sky above the palace split apart as enormous ships descended from the clouds, jagged, black, alive with crimson light. The Dominion had come. The invasion. The first blast shook the palace, shattering towers of crystal and throwing soldiers to the ground. Dominion soldiers poured from dropships, their armor hissing with mechanical venom. Their eyes glowed red, their movements cold and precise like shadows made flesh. Lord Kale, the ambitious general, seized the moment. "See? The humans have led them here," he shouted, pointing at Marcus. "Kill the human, kill the traitors, and fight for our survival." Chaos erupted. Some soldiers turned their weapons on Marcus and his crew. Others fired at the Dominion. The throne room became a storm of betrayal and blood. Seraphina's crown fell from her head as she rose to her full height, her voice cutting through the madness. "Enough!" But no one listened. The princess's stand Alara stepped forward, her voice sharp and commanding. "Stop fighting each other, look at them." She pointed at the Dominion soldiers flooding the palace gates. "They are the enemy, not the humans, not us. If we do not stand together now, we will all burn." Her words cut through some hearts, but not all. Kale drew his blade, eyes burning with hate. "Lies. You are no princess of ours. You are their weapon." He lunged for her, but Marcus was faster. He blocked Kale's strike with his rifle, sparks flying. The two men clashed in the center of the hall, steel against steel, fire against fury. Marcus fought not for power, not for glory, but for survival, for Alara, for the truth. The Queen's awakening, Seraphina's eyes locked on her daughter as chaos raged. For years, she had drowned in grief, ruling with iron because love had been torn from her. But now her daughter stood alive before her, risking everything for truth. Her heart cracked open. She saw not a prisoner, not a pawn, but a leader, the heir her people needed. Raising her voice, Seraphina unleashed a command that shook the palace walls. "All forces, unite. Human or alien, it does not matter. Strike the Dominion." Once soldiers turned their fire on the invaders. Humans and aliens fought side by side, the line between enemies erased by necessity. The battle for the palace. The Dominion pressed harder. Their war machines tore through walls, their soldiers swarming like locusts. But the defenders held their ground. Voss piloted a captured skimmer through the palace courtyard, blasting enemy troops from the sky. Dr. Cole dragged the wounded to safety, his trembling hands steady at last. Silas Kane's rifle cracked again and again, cutting down enemies with deadly precision. And in the heart of the hall, Marcus fought Kale to the death. The traitor general swung with rage, his blade slicing sparks from stone. "You fight for ghosts, human," Kale hissed. "You cannot change the galaxy." Marcus drove his rifle butt into Kale's chest, sending him sprawling. "Maybe not, but I can end you." With a final strike, Kale fell, his ambition silenced forever. The turning point. The Dominion surged toward the throne, their weapons aimed at the Queen. But Alara stepped in front of her mother, raising a fallen staff, her silver eyes glowing with defiance. "You will not take her from me again," she cried. The staff blazed with alien energy, a weapon of her bloodline, long dormant, but awakened by her will. A shockwave tore through the Dominion ranks, scattering soldiers like dust. The hall erupted with cheers. For the first time, the people saw their princess not as a victim but as a warrior. The final choice when the last Dominion soldier fell, the palace was in ruins. Smoke rose from shattered walls, bodies lay broken, but the queen still stood. Her daughter stood at her side, and the human warrior, scarred but unbroken, stood before them both. Serafina lifted her gaze to her generals. "You doubted her. You doubted me. But today you saw the truth with your own eyes. The Dominion lives, and we cannot face them divided." Her voice thundered. "From this day our war with the humans ends. We fight not as enemies but as allies." Gasps filled the hall. Some cheered, some wept, some remained silent, but none dared defy her. Alara turned to Marcus, her voice softer now. "You risked everything for me. For the truth. The galaxy owes you more than it will ever admit." Marcus shook his head. "I didn't do it for the galaxy. I did it because it was right." Their eyes met, human and alien, warrior and princess. For a heartbeat, the war that had consumed them both felt far away. A new dawn outside. The suns rose over the palace ruins. Smoke curled into the sky, but in the light, there was hope. The Dominion had been revealed. The galaxy would never be the same. Serafina stood tall, her hand resting on her daughter's shoulder. "This is only the beginning. The Dominion will return stronger. We must be ready." Marcus looked out at the horizon, his face hard but his eyes burning with quiet fire. "Then let's make sure we are." The camera pulled back, showing the ruined palace, the united armies, the endless stars above. A fragile peace had been born, but the true war was only beginning.